Life Cannot Be Explained from the Materialist Viewpoint by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Life is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that has puzzled scientists, philosophers and theologians for centuries. The question of whether life can be explained from a materialist viewpoint is a topic of great debate and controversy. Materialism is a philosophical viewpoint that posits the primacy of matter and physical processes in the explanation of all phenomena, including life. According to materialism, everything that exists, including living organisms, can be ultimately reduced to and explained by the interactions of physical particles and forces. This reductionist approach has been a dominant paradigm in the natural sciences, especially in the fields of biology, chemistry and physics. From a materialist perspective, life is often described in terms of its biological basis, which includes the molecular and cellular processes that underlie living organisms. The discovery of the structure of DNA and the elucidation of the genetic code have provided materialist explanations for the mechanisms of heredity, development and evolution. The fields of molecular biology and genetics have made significant strides in unravelling the biochemical and genetic basis of life, shedding light on the intricate processes that govern living systems. One of the challenges in explaining life from a materialist viewpoint is the phenomenon of emergence, wherein complex properties and behaviours arise from the interactions of simpler components. Living organisms exhibit emergent properties that cannot be fully accounted for by reduction to their constituent parts. For instance, consciousness, cognition and social behaviour are emergent features of certain organisms that pose a challenge to materialist explanations. The study of complex systems and non-linear dynamics has highlighted the limitations of reductionism in capturing the richness and diversity of life. Non-linear dynamics is a branch of mathematics and physics that studies systems in which a small change in one variable can lead to significantly different outcomes. This concept challenges the traditional linear cause and effect relationships that are often emphasized in materialist viewpoints. Non-linear dynamics suggests that life is inherently complex and unpredictable, with interactions and feedback loops playing a critical role in shaping outcomes. This perspective highlights the limitations of trying to explain life solely through a materialistic lens, as it emphasizes the dynamic and emergent properties of living systems that cannot be fully captured by reductionist approaches. Another contentious issue in the materialist explanation of life is the mind-body problem, which concerns the relationship between mental phenomena and physical processes. Materialist accounts of the mind often reduce consciousness and subjective experience to neural activity in the brain, positing that mental states are nothing more than the firing of neurons and the release of neurotransmitters. However, the subjective nature of consciousness and the phenomenon of qualia present difficulties for materialist theories of mind, raising questions about the sufficiency of physical explanations for mental phenomena. Qualia refer to individual instances of subjective conscious experience. In the context of arguing that life cannot be fully explained from a materialist viewpoint, the concept of qualia becomes particularly significant. Qualia are often seen as a challenge to materialism because they are inherently subjective and cannot be reduced to physical or materialistic explanations. By focusing on the unique and personal nature of qualia, one can argue that there are aspects of life and consciousness that transcend purely physical explanations, pointing towards the limitations of a materialistic perspective in fully capturing the richness and complexity of human experience. A fundamental tension in the materialist worldview arises from the absence of teleology or design and purpose in its explanatory framework. Materialism tends to eschew notions of design, intentionality and purpose in nature, favouring mechanistic and deterministic accounts of natural phenomena. However, The apparent teleological features of living organisms, such as adaptation, reproduction, and homeostasis, challenge the purely materialistic understanding of life. The concept of natural selection, while providing a mechanism for the evolution of species, does not fully address the teleological aspects of biological systems. Blavatsky Theosophy posits that evolution is driven by the need of consciousness to find expression, thus offering a spiritual and metaphysical explanation for the complexity and diversity of life on Earth. By emphasizing the role of consciousness in driving evolution, Blavatsky Theosophy suggests there is a deeper purpose and meaning to the evolutionary process beyond purely materialistic explanations. This viewpoint invites us to consider the interconnectedness of all living beings and the idea that evolution is not just a random mechanical process, but rather a manifestation of consciousness seeking greater expression and realization. In contrast to the reductionist tendencies of materialism, holistic and ecological perspectives emphasize the interconnectedness and interdependence of living systems within their environments. The study of ecosystems, biodiversity, and ecological networks reveals the intricate web of relationships that sustain life on Earth. Materialist explanations often struggle to account for the holistic dynamics of ecosystems and the emergent properties that arise from ecological interactions, pointing to the limitations of a purely reductionist framework. Beyond its scientific and philosophical implications, the question of whether life can be explained from the materialist viewpoint also carries ethical and existential significance. Materialist accounts of life may have implications for our understanding of human nature, free will, moral responsibility, and the meaning of existence. The reduction of human experience to purely physical processes raises profound questions about the nature of agency, morality, and the human condition, which extend beyond the scope of scientific inquiry. In addressing the limitations of the materialist viewpoint in explaining life, it is important to consider integrative approaches that draw from multiple disciplines and perspectives. The convergence of insights from biology, philosophy, psychology, anthropology, and other fields can enrich our understanding of life and its complexities. By embracing a multidisciplinary framework, we can navigate the tensions between materialist explanations and the broader dimensions of life that elude reductionist accounts. In conclusion, the question of whether life can be explained from the materialist viewpoint is a multifaceted and contentious issue that encompasses scientific, philosophical, ethical, and existential dimensions. While materialism has provided valuable insights into the biological, chemical, and physical aspects of life, its reductionist tendencies and limitations in addressing emergent properties, consciousness, teleology, and holistic dynamics underscore the need for a more nuanced and integrative understanding of life. By engaging with the complexities of life from a multidisciplinary perspective, we can appreciate the richness and diversity of living systems beyond the confines of a purely materialistic framework.